All right, today we're going to be looking at the DoD 8140 qualification metrics. Now, this is a huge change from the DoD 8570, which if we go to that, let me go ahead and go back one. DoD 8570 was mainly just a list of certifications that you can get to meet job requirements, right? And that has changed due to the 8140. Now, DoD 8570 was actually canceled and replaced by 8140. And here you can see that DoD 8570, and those that aren't aware of what that is, that's just the approved baseline certifications for anyone that plans to work with the government. So if you want to work with the government, you're touching IT systems, you're cybersecurity analyst, manager, what have you, you're working with information technology, then you need to have these certifications dependent on your role. Now, usually the IAT level ones would be more of those entry-level certifications, where the IAT level twos would be a little bit harder certifications. You're talking CCNAs, CISA, some of the other certifications they have there. One of the most popular, Security Plus. That's pretty much the baseline. If a recruiter is looking to hire somebody, they're going to want them to at least have that. And then you have the IAT level threes, which are more advanced, and those typically have either experience requirements like CISSP, or associate doesn't actually have an experience requirement. But some of these other ones are very difficult to achieve. They're not the easiest certifications. You don't start off there. And then they have IM, information assurance, I think manager, but it's just different roles, right? So you have your cybersecurity service providers, CSSP, and then those analysts, but depending on the role, you would need to have these certifications, right? And if you're a cybersecurity service provider auditor or manager, you'd either have to have like CEH, or if you're a manager, CISM, or CISP, ISSMP, which is CISP, a little bit more advanced than the regular one, right? And so you'd have to achieve and maintain these certifications. Now, the issue with this is that these are the vendors. And for the longest time, the DoD was hiring contractors and government civilians and making sure that they had these certifications. The issue with that is that you have only a small pool of applicants to choose from. So now they want to expand the pool, not just the people who have those certifications, but people who have degrees and experience, right? So how do you do that? Well, then came the newest introduction of the 8140. Might be saying that wrong. Yeah. So the 8140 is a solution to that issue. And I'll go ahead and click on it here. So the 8140 has been around for a good minute. It's actually now applicable to government civilians. And if you're a government contractor, it's going to slowly start gaining more traction because it's now mandated, but it's going to start gaining more traction as contracts shift, and the DoD 8570 is no longer taking over, and the 8140 is starting to be added to those contracts, and therefore the requirements change. Now, those requirements are what you see here. If you're a government civilian, they call it the cybersecurity workforce. If you're looking at this, whether contractor or DoD contractor, you're looking at the 8140. That's typically they're referred to it as. Either way, they're referring to this, which is the foundational qualifications that you need to have as a baseline, right? And here it's saying you can have education, training, and personal certifications. It's either of those. It's no longer just certifications. You can do training, you can have education. And it goes and it breaks this down even further in a spreadsheet I'm about to show you. So experience is, let's say you're in the military, you're a sysadmin, and you have that experience. Well, according to this, you can fulfill that role. All right. Let's say you have, and this is always required, is that you have on-the-job training or specific required training. So this is what you get once you are onboarded onto the role, or maybe you have previous experience in that job area. And then current technology, continuous development. So you're supposed to have 20 hours per year no matter which of these you fill, whether it's basic, intermediate, or advanced. Okay. And then here it provides a little bit more disclaimers. And this is where you'll get more granular information. If you click on these, it'll pop up a spreadsheet. And I was taking a look at this spreadsheet, and it's very interesting because it lists some of the certificate providers here, right? And I think the biggest change here is that if a certificate expires, there's a good chance it's here, right? If it doesn't expire, they take it off. And actually, if you go and you look at the certificate list for even the 8570, that was a rule that was implemented then and is still carrying on now, where if I click on this here, you'll see that if I scroll down to the bottom, that there's some certifications that are no longer being accepted because the fact that they expire, like this one right here, GIAC, GSE, and GISF were removed from the approved list because these certifications either like never expire, I guess, or something like that. Or there was something, there was an issue where they were no longer being accepted. All right, so let me go back over here and we'll take a look at the spreadsheet a little bit more, right? So you have these certifications, the different work roles. So if you're a CDA, cyber defense analyst, the basics is that you're gonna have the certificate, or if you're intermediate or advanced, you'll have this certificate here. And then the job role, right? And so we can scroll down a little bit more, but this is just a breakdown. You can see Security Plus is for technical support, database administrators, and it's pretty basic, right? Where if you look at, let's say, a CISSP, you can see a CISSP is advanced. That's what I have. So, depending on what certification you have, you'll fill that need. But then you heard me earlier mentioned degrees and experience. So let me also mention that. Right. Here's the acronym of the certificate name, and the vendors. And if we take a look here, you can see it breaks it down by position, the element, the component, so the branch of service for the DoD. You have MOS, military occupational specialties here listed. So if you're a certain occupation within the Navy for a system administrator, then to meet the intermediate requirements, you can actually complete this course here, right? And that would fulfill some of the requirements there. And so this is where it comes into the experience portion here, is that you don't even need a certification. If you fulfill these courses, then you can fulfill that requirement. So for instance, here, a 411 tech support specialist here can have an education of a bachelor's degree, BS, for basic and intermediate. And this is where degrees come into play, is that they actually fulfill that basic or intermediate requirement, right? Or you could have the training, which I just specified earlier, which you do these trainings on like their portals, these military portals. They go in there and you do the training there. Or you could have a commercial certificate, right? Could fulfill that need. Actually, this is commercial training. Commercial personal certificates are right here, right? So any of these, so like let's say they had a Sec Plus, oh, boom, you're intermediate, right? Let's say they had a CASP, oh, good, or a CCMP, okay, good, you're advanced. And that's how it looked like. Or they could say you have a bachelor's degree, okay, good, you're intermediate, right? Where you complete all these courses, which most likely these people in the military will have to complete as they're getting spun up on their job. Great, you're advanced, right? So I think this is great because now you're opening up the pool to more qualified individuals. Although, guys, it's not too good for people who are brand new to information security, because now you're competing with everybody and it's no longer just certificates that they're looking at. Although, let's be honest here, certificates are still going to be a big play. Why? Because your boss's boss got certificates to land his position and had to have the experience as well. I don't want to say certificates because there's three things you want to have: certificates, experience, and if you're working with the government, be able to clear a background check, right? So if you have those three things, you're in a pretty good place. So most likely your boss's boss or your hiring manager, not HR, not, you know, not the recruiters, but the hiring manager would, he had a certificate, so now he wants you to have one, right? And it's kind of how it is. But eventually, as the 8140 takes over and it starts getting put into the contracts, well, they can no longer say that, right? So they've got to open it up to degrees. They've got to open up to training. If you're in the military and you have these trainings complete, you know, all that will be looked at, right? But you're always required to do your on-the-job qualifications. Like that's something you still need to do, and you have to continuously receive credits, CEs, and you can get those either by going for your certifications or just every year doing these courses can give you CEs. Different ways to achieve the CEs, but you need to make sure you're continuously developing your skills. All right, so here's a breakdown, and they have it by different specialities here. So for like this one, a CCNA would fulfill it as advanced, right? So it's interesting, a BS degree would fulfill this. Advanced is to be determined, so they may say you need a master's, and that's what I've heard a lot of the times. As long as you're going to an accredited institution, they should accept it, but that's something that they're still trying to like hash out, is whether or not they want that advanced portion to be master's, which I'm guessing down the line they'll say, yeah, we need to have master's or PhD to fulfill that advanced portion, right? And you could take a look at this, but I just wanted to share this new update for the 8140 because I see a whole lot of people referencing 8570, not aware that that's been superseded. So, anyhow, I hope you enjoy this video. Danny out.